Been at Norwich for 6-7 years. I was here since under 11s and I'm currently at under 18. I'm actually from London, southeast London. So when I heard about the opportunity to go on trial at Norwich, it was a happy moment for me because I was trying to get in at a lot of clubs and it didn't go as planned. But when I came to Norwich, it just felt like home and I'm happy they took me on board. Yeah, when I joined the club, I was originally a left winger. Then I was floating around between left wing and left back. And then I went to the number 10 role and then ended up as a striker now. I'd say that I'm a willing runner, a team player. Yeah, I'd say I'm a willing runner and a team player.
Would you throw clinical goal scorer in there maybe?
I mean, I try to score with all the chances I'm presented, but it's not always the case. A player called Nelson and a player called Saxon. Ever since I've came here, they were always here. They're like the Norwich Generals. Our whole age group is really close with each other because we've been through it all together since like the age of under 12s. So we've got a really close bond with each other. And that's good. Getting awarded a pro contract, really. Yeah. It's like a humbling stone. It's just a proud moment for me. And it's only the start, so I really appreciate it. It has to be the Wolves game in the FA Youth Cup. It was a proud moment for me to score a hat-trick in such a prestigious competition. And I'm just happy with the result. I actually support Man United and currently still do. My brother, he supports Man United and it kind of like had an influence on me. So every time he would be watching the game, I would watch the game. And I just grew up liking how they were playing. So that's why I support Man United. I'm stuck between... In fact, I'll go Ronaldinho. Like, he made everything look so effortless and he done it with a smile on his face. Like, you just can't get better than that. Enjoying your time while being at your best is like the best thing, really. Because if you're not enjoying yourself, you won't be able to get like the best out of yourself. So if you're doing it and enjoying yourself, you could really hit your pinnacle. My superstition. I actually do have a superstition. I try to put like everything on the left side, like from the left side first. So if I have a shirt, I put my left arm through first and stuff. That's what I do before games.
truth in my blue colors. She just give me something I could never replace. The weight of my heart is the weight of the sea. Something I could never replace. The weight of my heart is the weight of the sea.
Rotherham United are in town, and we believe that is Paul Warne, of course, a local boy, a boyhood Norwich City fan. And you can see Carrow Road looking resplendent in the sunshine today, some new banners around. And if you do have a little look in the Barclay, if you zoom in, there is a god in the Barclay. There he is, Mr. Jeremy Goss, and we'll be talking to him just a little later on. And of course, Rob is always by my side. But here is what else is coming up on today's show. Of course, as I said, we've got Jeremy Goss in the Barclay. We've got Darren Huckabee joining us up on the gantry. We talked to Giannoulis, who's going to talk to us all about Giannoulis, our new Greek left-back. And of course, all the latest team news and live warm-ups. Rob, we can confirm, if we take a look at this was Paul Warne. There he is, the mask down. To say a big Norwich City fan, but he won't want to be doing Norwich any favours at all today, will he, Rob?
No, absolutely. I mean, they're struggling at the bottom of the table. I know Paul really well, great lad. I mean, got lots of good ideas as a manager and whatever and just finding his feet really. So, although you don't want him to win today, but you definitely don't want him to get relegated because I think he's got a big future in the game.
Yeah, and for Norwich City, 15 games left now, Rob. 2/3 of the way through the season. You're getting to the kind of sharp end of the season now, isn't it?
Absolutely, and what a great week it's been without obviously Norwich have won the games, Brentford have lost their games, and it's a totally different look now. So,
and I believe you said last week, didn't you, Rob? Don't panic, everybody calm down. We're still in this title race, and look what happens.
Absolutely, like I say, they just got to keep on winning what they've done, and it just goes to show football's a funny old game, but then you've got to be cautious because it's happened to Brentford. Could happen to Norwich, fingers crossed it doesn't, but football's a funny old game.
Yeah, and of course, for those people that haven't seen it, Brentford lost again today to Coventry. But here is the team news of Norwich today. One change, and before you all start to panic, Zimmerman is in for Ben Gibson, but Ben Gibson has a slight back problem. So, of course, it's just precautionary there to make sure he's on the bench. Of course, still Gibson. Zimmerman is back in, but Hanley and Zimmerman making up the partnership, which was we've seen lots of before, so not a big deal for Norwich. And actually, he's given him minutes as well, Rob.
Absolutely, and I think it's a perfect game for him today because, like I say, no disrespect to Rotherham, you'd like to think they wouldn't give Norwich a big test. So, it's strange that he's saying that Gibson's on the bench because he's got a slight injury and whatever. Like, why put him on the bench? But I suppose, yeah, I mean, he wants to keep him involved in whatever. Likelihood of him coming on is probably very small. But like you said, minutes for Zimmerman is important because, like I say, these three centre-halves are really strong. And I think you look through the whole Championship squads, there's not going to be too many better three centre-halves in any of the squads in the Championship. So for him to get minutes, and he's a good character in and around the dressing room and on the pitch. So I think it's a no-brainer from Daniel. If Gibson is not 100% fit, listen, that's what you've got squads for, and that's what you've got players like Zimmerman to come in. I mean, you trust those players.
Yeah, and the defence has done brilliantly so far this season because of recent weeks as well. The attacking partnership of Timo Pukki and Emi Buendia has been absolutely on fire, and we can see the stats here. But you know, what's made that so potent in recent weeks, Rob? Is it like we've talked about, Giannoulis coming at left back, that balance, Todd Cantwell stepping up and playing so well as well? There's lots of different factors, I guess.
Yeah, no, absolutely. You mean like you've got to have a base to build on, and that's what they've done all season. And we were worrying when they wasn't scoring and was going, but we sort of knew that the players that like Buendia, he can create chances. I mean, what Buendia is doing now, he's not only creating chances, he's scoring goals as well. Pukki, he's got that sharpness back that we thought was a bit lethargic, not missing, but lethargic in the last few games, like prior to the last two. So it's fantastic that they're starting to score everything. But in the meantime, though, you're still solid at the back.
That's what I was going to say. You know, as much as Brentford now gone on a losing streak of 3 games. Norwich had that 3-game streak, but they drew 2 of those, only lost 1. So that's been the difference, isn't it?
Yeah, picking up those points. You're picking up points all the time, and like you say, you're not conceding goals. So you've still got that strength in depth. You know what I mean, like throughout the team as a defensive unit. You know, I mean, starting from the front. And we sort of like knew like this was only like a minor blip that goals were going in.
Yeah, well, let's have a little chat to the Messiah now. Probably resplendent in the sunshine in the Barclay at Carrow Road. We'd all love to be there. Oh no, we're going to go to Darren Huckabee first of all up on the gantry. I thought we were going to another God, another Messiah. Well, let's take the Messiah. It's one of them. It's one of them. We're surrounded by him today. Hux, thanks for joining us, mate. Look, Hux never feels the cold. Last time when he was on with us, it was freezing and he was barely in anything. And today, all he's in the shirt, mate. I know it's warm, but is it that warm out there?
I should be in my swimming trunks. It's lovely out here.
Mate, we want to talk about Todd because, look, Todd has been brilliant in the last few weeks and we've chatted about him a lot before in terms of his ability that he's got. But also is there a point to be made about the way he carries himself? Because we talked about the way he has his hair, the boots he wears, the kind of clothes he wears. As much as he's a good player, is he building a career and a persona about himself that's going to build a career on as well as just his footballing ability?
No, I wouldn't say that. He's always been slightly different, the way he dresses, the way he presents himself. Big blonde hair, different coloured boots. He's just got that swagger, and like I say, as long as you're producing on the goods, you can wear what you want off the pitch and do what you want off the pitch. So at the minute, things are going great. I texted him in the week, telling him that he's got to be consistent, and the last 3 games I think has been excellent. He's just got to keep it going.
Yeah. Do you think that's been a lot to do with the fact that Giannoulis is coming at left back, and we talked about how well Sorensen did at left back, but Giannoulis gives him that little bit of balance, proper balance on the left and right, which then gives Todd the ability to be able to kind of float a little bit more than he has done before, because he knows that Giannoulis is going to be out on his left-hand side in an attacking sense too.
I think it's a number of things. I think obviously Buendia coming back in the team. Teams can cope, probably one of them, but having Buendia and Cantwell who can float and do what they can do on the ball is very difficult for teams. So I think with Buendia playing really well, Cantwell playing really well, it's very difficult for teams to mark them. And like I said, we've seen it in the last 2 or 3 games, especially with Pukki at top as well. It's been excellent.
And as an attacking 3, Hux, would you say that's probably as potent as in the Championship? There must be, isn't it? It's the front 3. There's not much better than that, surely.
I do believe that it's we've got I think we've got one of the best squads in the league. But also because we're so solid at the back, it gives them front players the licence to go and create chances, because you know that you're not going to ship goals behind you. And that's one thing we've done this season we haven't done the last 2 seasons, is we know for a certain that on our day we can keep clean sheets for fun. So I think that does help the forward players. It gives them licence to go and express themselves and go and try things.
Yeah, we've heard a lot said about Todd this week as well. We've heard Mark Robbins come out and say he was outstanding on the night, which he was. We've also had Keith Webb, who used to be the youth team manager, and I was there, saying that Todd's probably the best player Norfolk's ever produced in 50 years. Would you agree with that?
It's a tough call, isn't it? Keith Webb's seen a lot of players through the years, so he's probably one who can judge that. But that's probably one of the reasons why I text Todd in the week, just say, look, don't believe the hype, keep your feet on the floor, and keep producing, because that's the only thing that matters. If you can be consistent week in, week out with the flair that him and Buendia have got, we'll be unstoppable.
Yeah, top man Hux, we'll see you again soon, the Messiah. Look, Rob, Cantwell's done so brilliantly in these last few games. And what do you think he's kind of added to his game? Because, as Hux has said, he needed to find a little bit of consistency in his performances. Is that just an age thing? He's almost takes a bit of time to grow up?
No, you mean everyone's evolving. You mean we know the potential Todd's got. But I think what's happened with Todd over the last 5 games, if you go back to the Middlesbrough game, I think more so the Middlesbrough game, he was man-marked.
Yeah.
He was man-marked, and he's probably never been man-marked before in his career. And I think once you get man-marked, you think, well, hang on a minute, people start thinking I'm good. So he's sort of like, he's had to come away from that and say, well, I've got to up my game now, because if people are prepared to do that, I've got to do something special. I've got to go up to that next level, and I've got to be the player.
Yeah, and he did really well against Coventry, and we can see the highlights now of the Coventry game, Rob, and we'll talk over these as well. I mean, I was worried, to be fair, with that pitch started as, but this is Cantwell. He seems to have found half a yard, though. It looks like Forrest Gump when he was running then, though, didn't he? But do you think that's something he's been working on in training, his pace? Because it looked like he had an extra yard there, didn't he?
Because that's one thing probably Todd, if he admits himself, he's lacking that little bit of pace. But there, he's sort of like, he made up 2 yards and then went on 2 yards as well. So, and here again, as well. You know what I mean? Like I say, the pass.
But for Timo Pukki, though, he's already on the run.
Yeah.
2 or 3 seconds before Buendia's even receiving that ball. He knows, as soon as Buendia gets it, I'm making my run straight away. Is that naive defended by Coventry, though? Should they be going, right, we know what he's going to do, step up?
Absolutely. But like you say, you mean, what's good here, Darren, is like, you mean, a couple of weeks ago we were saying, like, he was tentative there. Now he knows where that ball's going, and it's just a stroke into the bottom corner. It's confidence, and that's what strikers, like, rely on and whatever. But, I mean, they totally dominated this game. And like you say, on a really poor pitch for playing the way that Norwich want to play, I thought they were excellent, and to come away with a 2-0 win is testament not only to they scored 2 goals, the 2 talisman have scored 2 goals, but defensively to keep a clean sheet there as well. I mean, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
I mean, that's so much hunger. And again, he knows I could have had a selfish striker, but hey, listen, I've scored today. You know what I mean? It's a certain goal as opposed to a.
What would you have done?
I'd have shot.
I would have shot as well, to be fair. That's why I asked you the question. I'd have been on my left foot. There's no way I'm passing that.
No.
To be fair, he could have put it in himself, couldn't he? Really easy. It's almost a harder thing to do, was try and find that pass.
Because he's outside and like he do the same with Todd, but Todd went like beyond that. But I mean, like I say, you shoot. But listen, that's the way that the squad is at the moment. Mate, it's incredible how it's gone in the last like 7 days, isn't it? You know what I mean? The performance in Coventry was really good. They've got a game where people's going to like 100% expect them to win today. Yeah. They've got to be at it, because Rotherham, like I said, are fighting for their lives. But like I say, if Norwich play anywhere like they've played in the last 3 or 4 games, you know what I mean, it's a no-brainer that we all think Norwich is going to win today.
Yeah, and in this game as well, Giannoulis, I think, probably had his best game for Norwich so far as left back, and you know, solidly defensively, obviously can concede, but he likes, you know, he seems to find his feet a little bit now. The pace and the power of the Championship, and playing on a pitch like that, he wouldn't have played on many of them in the last few years, particularly with how cold it was as well.
And the weather as well. But like you said it a couple of times today, that he gives you that balance. You know, he's a left foot, and he's a good left-footed player. I mean, he's like the Greek #1. He plays for the national team, so he's got quality. And like you say, I think the first couple was probably a wake-up call for him, saying, "Well, the Championship is not easy." So I've come in now. He made a mistake against Stoke last week with a pass, but 4 minutes later he's had an assist. So he knows what's what. So hopefully he can eradicate the mistakes, because the positives he's got and he's shown in the last few games has been really good.
I think it's what to highlight. The one thing to highlight, Rob, is the process of him leaving the country he was in, coming to this country mid-season. And he's not been able to mix with the lads in the change room as much as he wants to, because they're in isolation. So he's going from training straight back to the hotel. I mean, that must be massively difficult. Yeah. It's difficult enough as it is, but to find himself in isolation as well and come in and have to keep separate. When I moved to Leicester at Christmas time, that you felt like you're an intruder when you go into a changing room with lads who are doing so well in the season. You kind of have to find your place. So he's not had the opportunity to do that as much as a normal player would.
It'd be interesting to see. I don't know whether he's come over on his own, he's come over with his wife, girlfriend, or whatever, a partner. But when you're sitting in a hotel, it's like hotel, training ground. There's no, go on, let's go for a coffee, let's go for a bit of lunch in town so I can see the city. So it's very difficult, but I think the way he settled in, especially in the last couple of games, I think football's football. Yeah. You know what I mean? Coming from Greek, it's a totally different atmosphere, weather, climate conditions and everything, and pitches as well. So I think he's going to be a fantastic signing for Norwich.
And we'll talk to someone now who all know him pretty well, and it's Dimitris, who's a Greek football journalist, who's going to talk to us from all the way in Greece. I hope his English is better than my Greek, to be fair, because I'm not sure how far we'll get through this otherwise. Dimi, thanks for joining us. Just tell us a little bit about him. And Rob was saying there, you know, has he come over with a family? Has he come across on his own? Is he married? Has he got kids? You know, tell us a little bit of background about himself personally.
Hello, it's a pleasure for me to speak with you. Thanks for your invitation. I think that Giannoulis came alone at Norwich. I'm not sure if he came with his girlfriend. He's not married. He doesn't have kids. He's a very nice guy, a very friendly guy. I mean, he has too many friends in Greece, both inside the pitch and outside of the pitch. And generally, it was very difficult for him to leave from PAOK because he was very close to his teammates and especially the Greek players. And it was very, very difficult for him to say goodbye. But he followed his dream because it was his dream to play in England. And of course, to play for an important team in England like Norwich, who at this point is the favorite to go to the Premier League.
Well, that's the point as well, because he's joined in the Championship at the moment. And of course, we all hope that Norwich get into the Premier League. So it's a big move for him. I'm sure he wants to play at the highest level. Why would he have chosen Norwich? Because I'm sure he may have had some other suitors as well. Was it the fact that Norwich really went for him and showed the interest as much as they did?
Yes. According to my information, the interest from Norwich City started from last year, basically one year and a half. And last September or November, the interest became even stronger. I'm in a position to know that there were many clubs, especially during the last summer, that wanted to acquire Giannoulis. Clubs like important teams in Europe, like Atalanta, like Porto, some teams in Spain, like Granada. But the thing is that PAOK asked too much money for his sale, and also Giannoulis was a vital part of the club because PAOK has never played in the Champions League in the group stage. And for this reason, they didn't want to sell him because Giannoulis was very important in his position. Finally, PAOK didn't make it because they lost from Krasnodar, the club from Russia. And if you ask Giannoulis what was the moment that he would like to forget in his career in PAOK, it was the elimination from Krasnodar because he wanted to play to Champions League. So in November and December, Norwich expressed again their interest. Giannoulis wanted to move to England. He preferred to play in the English football compared to other like Italian football or La Liga or Italy. And for this reason, he chose Norwich. Of course, he knew that the club is very strong in the Championship. Of course, he knew that this league is extremely difficult, one of the most difficult championships all over the world, I would say, because there are too many teams, too many quality teams. And of course, it played a vital role, the fact that Norwich had such a strong roster and are one of the favorites to move to Premier League.
Look, thanks ever so much for joining us. Really appreciate your time, and it sounds like we've got quite the player on our hands. Thank you very much.
Thank you also.
Robert, you know a little bit about him as well. You know he's on your radar in terms of the work you do. He's a good player, isn't he?
Yeah, absolutely. He's the Greek number one. You mean Giannoulis, who went to Liverpool, is the Greek number two. Now all of a sudden Norwich have got this player, and hopefully there's like a signing in place when they get promoted. If they get promoted, you're adding a really good player to your team.
Yeah, and we just have a little bit of team news coming as well at the moment. So Ben Gibson is no longer in the squad. Abu Kamara is in the squad now. Gibson's not in it. So like you said perhaps before, why risk when you can have somebody in who can be fully fit, and perhaps he's feeling a little bit more as well. But enable replacement and get an opportunity for him to gain some minutes and experience with the first team.
Ben Gibson doesn't have to prove anything. Ben Gibson alongside Hannah's done fantastically well, and like Zimmerman hopefully will go in there today and just provide the same level that he's given over the last few games. So listen, that's not a problem. Let him, if he needs a rest, that's what squad players are for.
Yeah. Now we're going to talk to God finally. I think we can find him. God. He's in the Barclay, the God. Jeremy Goss, if you can hear us. I know the tannoy's going off at the moment. I know Gossy always reminds us he's deaf in right ear. He's Matt and Jeff in one ear, aren't you, Gossy? Can you hear us? There he is, God himself.
Hey, it's not funny, all right? I got to live with this.
We're not laughing, mate. Look, first of all, I want to talk about an evening that's coming up. So you're involved in it, I'm involved in it, Adam Jury, Darren Huckabee, Grant Holt, and so loads of legends are involved in it. Involved in it. I was doing it on purpose. And of course, Rob Newman's in it as well, mate. So that's an opportunity for fans to come on board and have a Q&A with us. And if they go to the Norwich website, they can get involved and speak to us via Zoom and have a bit of a chat. I'm not sure they're going to get a word in edgeways, are they, Gossy, with that group together?
Listen, it's fantastic what the football club are doing. They really put on good shows for the fans. It is all about the fans. So to have a group of legends get together to interact with the supporters, especially at this time in the circumstances that we're in, it's a wonderful idea, and I praise the club for doing it. But I don't know how Rob Newman got involved. I thought it was club legends.
I think he came along for me, apparently, as a partnership. I said, if I'm only doing it if Rob can come. So that was it. I said, my partner in crime's got to come with me.
I'm allowed to turn up.
Look, Gossy, look, just take a look at Norwich's side at the moment, and being a midfielder yourself, you were probably, obviously, an attacking midfielder. Looking at someone like Ollie Skipp, the influence he's had since he's come into this Norwich side, I mean, what would you make of him as a player?
Absolutely huge. I was going to mention it. I've been listening to you lads talking there about Todd Cantwell. Look, there's a fine line between super confidence and inner belief and arrogance, and he's on that tight line at the moment, isn't he? And I think he really portrays himself as a confident player. The front three are on fire. Timo's doing fantastic, but let's take nothing away for the unsung heroes, that people like Kenny McLean and Oliver Skipp. Skip's been, I think he's been outstanding. He's got to be one of the players of the season so far. He does such an important job. And one of the big reasons why we're holding up and doing well defensively is them shielding positions in front of the back four, the back two, which is Oliver Skipp's position. And along with Rupp as well, they've done terrific.
He's had an awful lot of praise, hasn't he? Because, the Spurs fans are well aware of him. Jose Mourinho's a big fan of his. Yet, it's not often you hear about those defensive midfielders getting the praise like he is, which shows just how much an influence he is having.
Oh, he is, a tremendous influence. But the thing is, people don't see it. They watch the ball, they watch the gifted attacking players, the flair players. But the lads like him, he does the simple things. He protects the ball, he protects and shields in front of the strikers and in front of the centre-halves. He does a great job.
Who would have done that job for you, Gossy? You were bombing forward, scoring volleys week in, week out. Who would have done the job for you as a defensive midfield role? Did all your running? I know that's not true, because Gossy ran everywhere.
Well, that's a great question, that, actually, because we played with that basic 4-4-2, didn't we, with them two wide men, the flat four. Me and Ian Crook always worked together quite well, and he would be the one to hold all the time, actually. And then Ian Culverhouse, I remember him playing in a sweeper role a few times. That was behind the back two and in front of the back two. And indeed, even big Rob Newman there, he would be the one to come forward too.
Big Rob Newman getting forward, even he's laughing himself. Look at it, he can't believe you're talking about doing his running for him. But there's it though, wouldn't it? You had Ian Crook, he was your quarterback, wasn't he, which gave you the licence to be able to get forward and score those unbelievable goals that you did. But what's it like to be back at Carrow Road again, Gossy? Standing in the sunshine, watching a game of football.
Look at me, look how I'm dressed. I'm catching the sun. I'm the only guy in the Barclay. It is brilliant. What an opportunity. And how lucky am I? Although I've got to say, I was in serious danger a few minutes ago. The lads were having shooting practice, and I nearly got taken out a few times. And Todd Cantwell being one of those who nearly hit me straight on the head. They're getting the bad ones out of the way before the game starts.
Do you know what? Thanks for joining us, Gossy. I think that's a bit of an eye for the future, that is. There'll be a plinth of Gossy in the Barclay, like the Angel of the North, like that. So I think we're seeing something into the future there.
Let's get it done.
But look, I mean, he looks back to the days of his playing, and you can't really draw comparisons about the team back then to what it is now. They play a very different system.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And just carrying on from Oliver Skipp there, it's been fantastic. I mean,
as a defender, but as Hanley and Gibson have been,
so
to have that in front of him.
So important that you know that any gaps he feels, you don't have to worry about him because he knows it. And he's still young. But the minutes he's played this season, it's been fantastic. But he's so young, but he's so knowledgeable about the game. And like I say, as a central defender, having him in front,
we've got the partnership
he's always there.
Look at the defensive partnership of Hanley and Gibson. You can see how influential it's been. Fewest goals conceded in 20 games. Yeah, I mean that's since 2020.
I left in 98.
98. They look at the fact to 98. They looked at it. It wasn't quite so good,
No,
so they went to
don't
2000 and
worry about
beyond,
that.
isn't it?
Listen, we've said and we've said their praises, and quite rightly so. And it's just not these two, the two fullbacks and the goalkeeper, but alongside Oliver Skipp and Rupp or Kenny McLean, they've been fantastic. And like I think Darren said, Darren Huck said earlier, it allows the forwards to think, well, they can cope with that. It's like going back to our day. You mean like Sutty, Efan, and Foxy.
Yeah.
The rest of us defend, and those three up could create something and score goals. That's exactly what it is now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They don't have to go back. They don't have to worry about recovery because we've got a solid six in that back defensive positions to cope with anything.
Yeah, it's looking great for Norwich
Yeah,
at the moment.
absolutely.
Look, Rotherham
Really
today,
good.
what kind of problem do you think they're going to pose for Norwich today? They've said they've had a tough week. They played Bournemouth, and now they've got Norwich. So it's been a tough one for them in terms of travelling as well.
Yeah, it's two tough games, but Rotherham away, one of ours got sent off, didn't they? One of ours got sent off, do you remember?
Yeah.
So I think we scraped that win. So it was not an easy win, but Rotherham today, technically, we should be far superior.
We can have a look at the last time out of Rotherham. We've got some footage of that as well, so we can have a look
I
at
think
that now.
we scraped a 2-1 win, didn't we?
Yeah.
And like I say, Rotherham will give you, I think, a compact unit. They'll be tough to beat. They will sit a deep defensive block. So Norwich will have to be patient. But I think Norwich should have enough in their locker, in the way they're playing at the moment, they're playing with so much enthusiasm and confidence that they should beat these today.
Yeah. Well, we're going to have a quick look at that now. Let's have a look at the last time out of Rotherham.
He's going to find it tough today because that
Krul's kick has gone all the way into the penalty area for Ladapo to score for Rotherham, and inside 2.5 minutes it's Rotherham who lead. Miller's delivery in towards that crowd of players. It's bobbling around in there. It needs to be dealt with. Down goes Carl Robertson, and a penalty has been given. A huge moment. Can Tim Krul save the Canaries? He can! It's a brilliant penalty save from Tim Krul. Ladapo went low to the goalkeeper's left, and Krul got down to it and parried it brilliantly. The City skipper will find Buendia. Laid off to Skip, up to Stiepermann. Clever touch to Buendia. One touch now on to Aarons, who's got a crossing opportunity from the right, and it comes, and it's an own goal by Michael Hickway. Running back towards his own goal. He was desperate to stop Jordan Hugill from getting there, and he's ended up turning the ball past his own goalkeeper before Hugill could get there. Michael Hickway could just turn it into his own net. Hugill's now come out to the right wing. He's been pushed off the ball. In goes Ollie Skip with a challenge, and Angus MacDonald as well. And it could be a red card for Angus MacDonald. It is. Shaven-headed, bearded, crosses the ball in, and there's a stretch, and a defender gets there first. Buendia's been taken down. That could be a penalty. It is. We're entering the 5th minute of stoppage time. It's 1-1. Hugill sweeps his hair back, dries his hands on his shirt, runs up to the ball now, and puts the penalty in. And Norwich City are in front for the first time in this game with 95 minutes on the clock. It's Jordan Hugill's first goal for the club. And what does it mean to Norwich City? Well, Tim Krul has run the length of the pitch to get involved with the celebrations.
You kind of sometimes forget about those games, don't you? Again, you look at that in the 95th minute, Jordan Hugill gets his first goal for Norwich, and they win after sending off and getting a penalty. You know, those kind of things you look at back for a season and think that was almost a vital part of the season as well.
Absolutely. To score in the 95th minute is unbelievable. But going back to how Rotherham were faced, they will see that as a bit of an injustice. Man sent off, tough tackle, could have gone either way, but losing in the 95th minute, they come here today and say, listen, we cope with Norwich in that day, we cope with them, so have belief you can do it. But like I say, this is our home turf, the way we're playing at the moment. You'd like to think Rotherham will cause us few problems offensively, and it's how they do defensively will be the key today.
And Brentford have lost again today already against Coventry. So how would Norwich look into this game now? Do they go into this relaxed, full of confidence because Brentford are lost? Or, you know, you look at Watford as well. Watford have won yesterday. They're sneaking up behind Norwich now. You look at the teams in around it. It's a 4-horse race, isn't it, for those two spots?
Absolutely.
You've got Norwich, Brentford, Swansea and Watford.
And I think Daniel does really well. Daniel Farke does really well here. I mean, when you hear him talk and whatever, like, he never puts pressure on it. You listen, we go out there and then we play the way we can play.
Prediction?
I'm going 3-0 again.
Oh, I was going to go 3-0 too. We can't have the same, can we?
Okay, I'll have 2-0.
You're going to take... All right.
I think Rotherham's defence will be strong, so I'll go 2-0.
Okay, I'll have 3-0 to Norwich. Enjoy the game. We'll see you at half-time.